Welcome to the NUMIS Hunter, where we deep dive into the unbelievable world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change transforms into unimaginable wealth. And today's story revolves around one of the most shocking, mind-bending, and curiosity-igniting discoveries ever discussed in modern numismatics. A discovery that has shaken collectors, experts, and treasure hunters worldwide. Centered around the mysterious 1970 dime that has been rumored, whispered about, hunted for, and obsessively researched because of its astonishing valuation, said to reach as high as $93 million due to the extreme combination of minting flaws, rare production anomalies, unintentional errors, and mysterious circumstances that elevate it far beyond the boundaries of normal coin collecting. A coin surrounded by the kind of myth and fascination that keeps collectors awake at night, digging through old jars, estate boxes, inherited collections, and forgotten rolls in the hopes of uncovering one of the most valuable pieces of metal ever created by accident. And as we begin this journey, I want to welcome every viewer, every collector, every treasure seeker, and every curious mind into this episode, where we take a closer look at why a tiny 10-cent coin for 1970 bearing the Denver Mint mark could theoretically command such an outrageous value due entirely to a perfect storm of extraordinary mistakes, mint abnormalities, improbable conditions, and mysterious events that have been documented, debated, and analyzed for years, because this coin, unlike most others, is not rare simply due to age or limited mintage, but due to an almost unbelievable cluster of errors that go far beyond the normal double dies, off-centers, clipped planchets, or overstrikes that collectors are familiar with. Instead, this coin is tied to stories of experimental planchets, mismatched dies, illegal production anomalies, and the possibility of a transitional error so extreme that only a tiny handful, or perhaps only one, could exist, which is exactly why its potential value skyrockets in a territory few coins have ever entered. And when we talk about the 1970 dime, the first and most shocking detail is the possibility that some of these coins may have been accidentally struck on planchets not meant for dimes at all, including silver planchets that were supposed to have been completely removed from U.S. mint facilities by the end of the 1960s. Meaning that if even a single 1970 dime exists on a leftover silver planchet, it becomes a historically impossible coin, a violation of mint policy, a late-era silver anomaly, and one of the rarest transitional errors ever recorded, because the United States Mint had officially stopped producing silver dimes in 1964, making any 1970 dime on silver a kind of forbidden relic, an accidental survivor. A ghost of mint practices long discontinued, and that alone would send collectors into a frenzy. But the possibilities don't stop there, because additional rumors and documented error patterns suggest that the 1970 dime may also appear with anomalous die alignment issues, meaning the reverse and obverse do not align at standard rotation angles. And while slight rotations are relatively common, extreme rotation errors, especially if connected to a coin already tied to other abnormalities, explode its value because they point toward mechanical malfunctions happening simultaneously during an aberrant production run. The kind of event that would likely produce only a handful of coins before a machine jammed, shut down, or was corrected by a mint worker, making any surviving coins incredibly rare. Add to this the possibility of double die errors with extremely strong doubling on the lettering, date, or portrait, and suddenly you're dealing with a coin that carries multiple high-value errors stacked on top of one another, each multiplying the rarity and desirability by staggering margins, which is exactly why collectors imagine this coin reaching valuations far beyond typical market ranges, since rarity built from multi-layered mistakes is far more powerful than rarity built from mintage alone. But the mysteries grow even deeper, because some experts speculate that one or more 1970 dimes may have been accidentally overstruck on already minted foreign coins, a phenomenon documented in other years where U.S. mint presses were used to strike planchets destined for countries whose coinage was temporarily produced in U.S. facilities, meaning a 1970D dime with faint underlying designs from a foreign coin, such as a centavo or a small denomination piece from contracted nation, would immediately become a numismatic anomaly, so bizarre, so unlikely, and so historically fascinating that collectors, auction houses, and museums would fight tooth and nail for ownership, which again drives potential valuation into the realm most people would consider unbelievable. But the coin world thrives on the improbable, the accidental, and the once-in-a-lifetime find. And as if the story weren't wild enough, there are also theories that a small batch of experimental compositions may have been tested around that time for internal mint research, including planchets with slightly different metal ratios, test metals for calibration, or transitional materials used in equipment testing. And if even one 1970D dime escaped on one of these experimental blanks, it would create a coin that cannot be replicated, predicted, or intentionally searched for. A coin that is valuable not just because of rarity, but because it represents a moment in mint history that should not have produced a surviving specimen. And such a coin would cause bidding wars unlike anything the Dime series has ever seen. And when collectors discuss the idea of a $93 million valuation, they're not discussing a typical market price, but the hypothetical maximum that could be achieved if a coin combines multiple errors never before, seen together in a single dime, such as a silver planchet, foreign overstrike, extreme die rotation, powerful double die, and anomalous planchet composition, all wrapped inside a coin whose existence defies mint protocol. And while the existence of such a specimen has never been publicly confirmed, it is the very possibility that keeps collectors searching furiously through old change. And as you hold any 1970D dime in your hand, the thought that one out there could contain a combination of mistakes so rare it becomes a once-in-a-civilization discovery is exactly what fuels treasure hunters across the world. And this is why people speak of the 1970D dime with such awe, not because every coin from that year is valuable, but because even the slightest hint of an error demands close inspection under magnification with attention to weight, thickness, edge reading, shine, sound, and structural anomalies. Because most remarkable discoveries in numismatics began as ordinary pocket coins, handled by people who never suspected they were holding a treasure worth enough to change their lives forever. And the story of the 1970D dime continues to grow as new collectors bring fresh energy to the search, pushing deeper into old bank vaults, rolls untouched for decades, inherited jars, abandoned coin albums, and forgotten safe deposit boxes, and every discovery, even a minor errors, adds fuel to the mythos surrounding this coin, because myths attract attention. Attention brings more searching, and more searching increases the chance that the ultimate error coin could one day surface, shocking the entire world, sending waves across international numismatic communities, and redefining what a modern coin can be worth. And so, as the NUMIS Hunter welcomes you deeper into this thrilling world, remember that the beauty of coin collecting isn't just in the metal, but in the stories, the mysteries, the accidents, and the chase. And the 1970D dime stands as one of the most powerful reminders that even the smallest, simplest coin can carry a history of mistakes so extraordinary that its value reaches levels unimaginable for something so tiny, proving once again that in the world of rare coins, anything is possible when errors, anomalies, and history collide. Next, 2000D dime, a coin that most people would never give a second glance. Yet in the world of extreme numismatic fascination, it has sparked rumors, theories, and investigative curiosity because of the possibility that certain error-struck examples of this dime could be worth up to $9 million due to a combination of extremely rare mistakes. Mint anomalies and production accidents that collectors dream about but almost never see in real life. And as we explore this astonishing coin, I want to welcome every viewer, collector, treasure hunter, and curious mind to this experience where we unlock the secrets of how a simple 10-cent piece could transform into a life-changing jackpot through a perfect storm of minting chaos, freak occurrences, and nearly impossible defects. Because the 2000D dime is not valuable because of its age or scarcity, but because of what might have gone wrong at the Denver Mint during its creation, the kind of unpredictable events that can create a coin so unique and so impossible to replicate that it becomes a once-in-a-generation discovery that sends shockwaves across the coin world, ignites bidding wars, and leaves collectors obsessively searching their change jars, hoping to stumble across one of the most astonishing error coins ever imagined. And when we look at the 2000D dime, the first thing we must understand is that year 2000 coinage was mass-produced in the billions with extremely high-speed machinery designed for efficiency. And whenever production is pushed to the limit under immense pressure, the chance of mechanical failure, worker oversight, or unexpected material complications increases, which opens the door for strange and extremely valuable errors. And one of the biggest possibilities surrounding the 2000D dime is the chance that a tiny number may have been struck on the wrong planchet. Meaning instead of being stamped on the standard copper-nickel-clad dime, blank, it may have been mistakenly struck on a foreign coin, planchet, or even a leftover experimental piece left behind from testing procedures. And U.S. Mint history shows that around the late 1990s and early 2000s, the Mint produced millions of foreign coins for contracted nations, meaning blanks of completely different weights, metals, and diameters may have accidentally mixed into the hoppers, resulting in a dime struck on an alloy not meant for U.S. circulation. And if any 2000D dime exists on a foreign planchet, especially if it carries the wrong weight, unusual coloration, abnormal shine, or even faint traces of underlying foreign features, that coin would instantly skyrocket in value because such a mistake would be nearly impossible to repeat and extremely unlikely to survive inspection procedures, making any discovered example priceless in the eyes of collectors. And that's only the beginning, because the 2000D dime is also rumored to show signs of double die errors, where the lettering, date, motto, or torch on the reverse carries strong doubling caused by die misalignment during the hubbing process. And strong Class 4 or Class V doubling could easily propel a dime into the hundreds of thousands or millions, because the dramatic visual effect combined with modern-era scarcity makes such an error incredibly desirable. But beyond doubling, there are even more dramatic possibilities, such as off-center strikes where the design lands far from its intended position, sometimes leaving blank crescent-shaped areas on the planchet. And the value of an off-center strike depends on the percentage of the misalignment, with extremely dramatic off-centers of 60 to 80% being worth massive amounts, especially if the full date and mint mark remain visible, something ultra collectors obsess over because visibility of the date on such extreme errors is rare, making such a coin both spectacular and historically meaningful. And some theories suggest that the 2000D dime may also exist with broad strike errors where the retaining collar failed to hold the planchet during striking, allowing it to expand outward like a pancake, creating an oversized and abnormally smooth-edged coin that stands out instantly to anyone handling it. And while broad strikes are known in many years, the rare combination of broad strike plus additional errors, such as doubling or planchet defects, would multiply the value dramatically, pushing an already valuable piece into multi-million-dollar territory if the factors align perfectly. Another astonishing possibility tied to the 2000D dime is the concept of a mule error, one of the rarest types of mint mistakes where two dies not meant to go together are accidentally paired, such as a dime reverse being paired with the wrong obverse, like a quarter obverse or foreign die. And while the U.S. Mint has documented extremely rare mule coins in other denominations, such as the legendary mule $quarter coin, no confirmed mule dime from 2000D has surfaced publicly, but the very possibility electrifies collectors because mule errors are almost always worth millions due to their forbidden and accidental nature, and the discovery of a mule involving a 2000D dime would be one of the most important finds in modern U.S. coinage. And another scenario that could push the value to $9 million involves transitional errors caused by leftover planchets from previous years or from testing procedures, such as an unintentional leftover silver planchet or test alloy blank being struck with year 2000 dies. And although the Mint officially stopped producing silver dimes decades earlier, the discovery of leftover alloy blanks in other denominations has proven that Mint storage errors are possible, meaning a silver-based 2000D dime, if it exists, would be among the rarest modern coins ever created, instantly transforming it into a legendary collectible commanding unimaginable value. But the story gets even deeper when we consider mechanical malfunctions such as die cracks, shattered dies, die breaks, and cuds forming on the obverse or reverse, where chunks of metal break off the die during striking, causing raised, dramatic blobs, or missing portions in the design. And extreme die breaks can produce incredible visual deformities that collectors absolutely love, especially when paired with other irregularities such as rotated dies where the reverse and obverse don't align correctly, and extreme rotation errors, sometimes 90 degrees or even fully upside down, are extremely rare in modern minting, especially when combined with other abnormalities, making such a piece wildly attractive for high-end collectors who pay staggering premiums for unique combinations of minting chaos. And while most people imagine errors as simple mechanical accidents, there is also the possibility of human error, such as misadjusted striking pressure leading to weak strikes, overly heavy strikes causing flattened rims or distorted lettering, or feeder finger scrapes causing dramatic gouges across the coin's surface, and dramatic feeder finger marks can sometimes create eye-catching patterns that collectors refer to as dramatic mint scars. And the combination of intense contrast between smooth and raised areas can make these coins incredibly desirable, especially when the damage occurred before striking and was sealed under the design, proving its authenticity as a genuine mint error instead of post-mint damage. And when we combine all of these possibilities into one theoretical coin, a 2000D dime struck on the wrong planchet, with extreme doubling, a rotated die, dramatic die cracks, an off-center strike, foreign planchet composition, and possibly even underlying mule characteristics, collectors dream about such a piece reaching astronomical numbers because the coin would be unlike anything the Mint ever intended to produce. A complete accident born from a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and system overload during one of the highest volume production years in modern coinage. And this is why the idea of a $9 million valuation is not only possible, but understandable within the world of advanced error collecting. Because when a coin becomes unique, unreproducible, and historically impossible, its value is determined by rarity, demand, and the intensity of collector interest. And the 2000D dime sits at the center of dozens of theories. Next, 2016 P dime, a modern coin that most people handle without even a passing thought. Yet certain extreme and highly unusual error versions of this little 10-cent piece have been rumored and theorized to be worth as much as $3.64 million due to a combination of rare mint mistakes, unusual production, anomalies, and nearly impossible defects that collectors dream about but almost never see in circulation. And as always, I want to welcome every viewer, collector, treasure, hunter, and curious mind into this exciting journey where we break down exactly how a coin minted so recently could ever reach a value that seems completely unbelievable for its denomination. Because the 2016 P dime isn't valuable because of age or scarcity, but because of what might have happened during the minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for extremely high speed, high-pressure production numbers that often push machinery to the absolute limit. And whenever the mint runs at full intensity, the chances of mechanical breakdowns and human oversight increase, opening the door for unusual strikes, die defects, planchet anomalies, and bizarre mistakes that slip through quality control unnoticed, making their way into circulation as incredibly rare treasures waiting for someone lucky enough to spot them. And when we examine the 2016 P-Dime, the first major factor that gets collectors talking is the introduction of the P mint mark on circulating dimes for the very first time, marking a historic shift in production and creating heightened attention around that year's output, which makes any unusual coin from 2016 instantly more significant. And that year's massive production numbers meant that billions of dimes were struck at lightning speed, amplifying the likelihood of planchet mix-ups, die breaks, feeder finger scrapes, striking pressure errors, and other rare problems that could create multi-million-dollar anomalies. And among the most exciting possibilities is the chance that a small number of 2016 P-Dimes were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being minted on the standard copper-nickel clad dime planchet, they could have been struck on a leftover blank from another denomination or even a foreign coin blank that somehow found its way into the hopper. And given that the U.S. Mint has a long history of producing foreign coinage and testing experimental alloys behind the scenes, the existence of a dime struck on an incorrect blank is not only possible, but fully supported by decades of documented mint errors. And a 2016 P-Dime with an unusual weight, different metallic ring, unique coloration, or mismatched diameter would become one of the rarest modern error coins ever discovered, potentially commanding millions due to its impossibility and uniqueness. And the theories don't stop there, because another extraordinary possibility is the existence of mule errors where the obverse and reverse dies from. Different denominations or different years are mistakenly paired together. And while mule errors are among the rarest and most valuable mint mistakes in numismatic history, with some selling for over $2 million, the discovery of a mule involving a 2016 P-Dime would instantly become a national headline in the coin community because of its modern-day rarity and its historical importance, as the first year of Philadelphia circulating dimes bore a mint mark, meaning a mule from that year would be an unparalleled standout in the entire Roosevelt Dime series. And beyond mule errors, collectors also speculate about dramatic double die obverse and double die reverse errors that could have occurred due to hub misalignment during die creation and strong doubling on a modern dime, especially visible on the date, mint mark, mottos, or torch, would be extremely desirable because strong doubling on modern coins is far less common than on older issues, making such examples instant treasures capable of reaching extraordinary values, especially if found in high grade or in combination with other errors. And these doubling patterns can be dramatic enough to catch the eye immediately under magnification, showing thick overlapping letters, doubled outlines, and split serifs that collectors absolutely love. And another fascinating possibility lies in extreme off-center strikes where the design lands far outside its usual placement, leaving part of the coin blank and dramatically unbalanced. And the value of offsetter coins increases significantly when the date and mint mark remain visible, making a dramatic off-center 2016 P-Dime highly valuable and potentially worth hundreds of thousands on its own. But if paired with a wrong planchet, double strike, or broad strike error, it could easily push into multi-million-dollar territory because of the unrepeatable stacking of mistakes. And speaking of dramatic combinations, many experts point to the possibility of broad strike and partial collar errors on the 2016 P-Dime, where the collar fails to hold the planchet tightly during striking, causing the coin to spread outward with a distorted, unusually wide rim and missing edge reading. And while broad strikes are collectible on their own, a dramatic broad strike combined with rotational misalignment or double striking could multiply its rarity to an extent that rocket boosts its value, especially if the piece shows flawless mint luster and strong details preserved despite the error. And die breaks, die cracks, and die cuts are another avenue of tremendous interest, because when the die begins to break during the striking process, it can create dramatic raised lines, bubbling effects, broken design sections, or missing parts of the coin's design. And extreme cuts, where large chunks of the die fall out, can produce massive raised blobs that distort large sections of the coin's outer rim or devices. And dramatic cuts on modern coins, especially in the first year of the new Philadelphia mint mark style, would be extremely valuable, particularly if paired with other melt-resistant errors like double strikes, multiple strikes, or die clashes. And die clash errors themselves are another incredible possibility for 2016, where the hammer and anvil dies strike each other without a planchet in between, imprinting traces of the opposing design onto both dies and causing faint but dramatic ghost images to appear on the struck coins afterward. And strong die clashes are extremely collectible, especially when the devices from one side of the coin clearly appear on the opposite side, creating a haunting and visually stunning effect that collectors are willing to pay enormous premiums for. And when combined with other errors, it becomes exponentially more valuable. And then we have misalignment strikes, where the obverse or reverse die is not centered properly during striking, resulting in one side appearing off-center while the other appears normal, and such. Dramatic mechanical failures create coins that stand out instantly in circulation and can reach high values, depending on the exact severity and visibility. Another major factor in the potential multi-million-dollar valuation of an extreme 2016 P-Dime is the concept of a double strike error, particularly where the coin is struck more than once in slightly different positions, causing overlapping images, doubled outlines, stretched devices, or dislocated lettering. And double strikes are incredibly popular among collectors, especially when both strikes are well-defined and clear. And if a 2016 P-Dime were double struck off-center or on the wrong planchet, it would easily become one of the most valuable modern dimes ever discovered. And the last major possibility, connecting to the incredible $3.64 million speculation, is the discovery of an experimental alloy test coin from 2016, because the U.S. Mint periodically tests metals for durability, color consistency, and striking quality. And if an experimental blank with no intended circulating purpose were accidentally struck with regular 2016 P-Dime dies, the coin would become a modern rarity of legendary proportions due to its unintended existence, untraceable origin, and irreproducible nature, making it a treasure of enormous historical importance and staggering market value. And all of these extraordinary potential errors. Next, 2002 Dime, a modern 10-cent coin that most people have passed through their hand without ever realizing that certain extremely rare error examples could be worth as much as $6 million due to a perfect storm of mint mistakes, production anomalies, and nearly impossible defects that elevate a simple coin into legendary status. And as we begin this thrilling exploration, I want to welcome every collector, treasure hunter, and curious viewer who loves the adrenaline of discovering hidden wealth in the most unexpected places, because the 2002 Dime, though mass-produced and often overlooked, sits at the center of fascinating theories, documented error patterns, and the potential existence of once-in-a-lifetime mint accidents that could turn a small silver-colored coin into a life-changing jackpot, proving that even the most modern coins can carry secrets, mysteries, and shocking value when the right combination of errors collides. And when we talk about the 2002 Dime, the first thing we must understand is that the early 2000s were extremely high-volume years for the Denver Mint, with billions of dimes struck at incredible speed. And whenever production machinery is pushed this hard, the chances of mechanical breakdowns, human oversight, and planchet mix-ups increase dramatically, creating the environment where rare and valuable error coins can slip into circulation unnoticed. And one of the biggest theories that has collectors buzzing about the 2002D dime is the possibility that some were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being minted on the usual copper-nickel-clad dime blank, they might have been mistakenly struck on a planchet mint for a different denomination or even a foreign coin blank. And since the U.S. Mint has a history of producing foreign currency and storing mixed metal blanks in large facilities, it would only take one moment of misplacement or machine malfunction for a different planchet to be fed into a dime press. And if such a 2002D dime exists, whether it weighs slightly more or less than a normal dime, shows a different ring when tapped, displays an unusual color tone, or has a faint trace of underlying design from a previous strike, then that coin would be almost impossible to replicate and could easily command millions in a high-stakes auction due to its rarity and historical impossibility. And that's just the beginning, because another extraordinary possibility involves dramatic double die errors, where the design elements like the date, mint mark, lettering, or torch on the reverse show strong doubling caused by misalignment during the die creation process. And while minor doubling is fairly common across many denominations, dramatic bold doubling in a modern dime, especially from the early 2000s, is extremely rare and highly desirable because it stands out instantly under magnification and creates a powerful visual effect that collectors love. And if a 2002D dime were found with strong doubling combined with another error, such as off-center striking or planchet defects, the value could skyrocket even higher due to the combination of rare features. And speaking of off-center strikes, another major factor that could push the value of a 2002D dime into multimillion-dollar status is the existence of extreme offsetter errors where the design is dramatically shifted to one side, leaving a large blank crescent of unstruck metal on the opposite side. And the most valuable off-center coins are those where the date and mint mark remain visible, because they prove authenticity and allow collectors to identify the year, and dramatic offsetter strikes of 50 to 80% with full visible date can fetch enormous premiums. And if a 2002D dime exists with extreme misalignment combined with another rare error, such as double striking or wrong planchet composition, it could easily justify a valuation of $6 million or more. And another exciting possibility is the broad strike error, where the collar that normally holds the coin tightly in place during striking fails or malfunctions, allowing the coin to expand outward and flatten slightly, giving an oversized, unusually smooth rim and distorted features. And broad strikes can be worth significant amounts on their own, but if paired with other dramatic abnormalities like rotated dies, misaligned dies, or die cracks, the combined visual impact and rarity can elevate the coin into legendary territory. And while mechanical errors are common sources of rare coins, we also have to consider die defects such as die cracks, die breaks, die cuds, and shattered dies, which occur when the die becomes worn or damaged during striking, creating raised lines, missing sections, or large lumps of metal on the finished coin. And dramatic die breaks on modern coins are especially collectible because newer minting technology is designed to catch problems early, meaning any severe die damage that results in a coin entering circulation becomes vastly more valuable due to its rarity. And a 2002D dime showing major cut damage or shattered die effects combined with other mint anomalies would instantly be considered a treasure capable of commanding a sky-high price. And we cannot ignore the possibility of a mule error, one of the rarest and most valuable mistakes in minting history, occurring when dies from two different denominations or designs are accidentally paired together, creating a coin with mismatched sides, and mule errors have sold for millions in the past because of their impossibility. And although no confirmed mule involving a 2002D dime has surfaced publicly, the mere theoretical chance is enough to send collectors in a frenzy because mules are so rare that each one is considered a numismatic miracle. And another dramatic error that could apply to the 2002D dime is a double strike or multiple strike error, where the coin is struck more than once in slightly different orientations, creating overlapping images, doubled lettering, distorted outlines, or misaligned devices. And these double-struck coins often look so unusual and eye-catching that collectors immediately recognize their rarity. And when a double strike is combined with off-center striking or wrong planchet errors, the value multiplies astronomically. And let's not forget die clash errors where the obverse and reverse dies hit each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of the opposite side on each coin. And strong die clashes can create eerie outlines of Roosevelt appearing on the reverse or elements of the torch appearing faintly on the obverse. And these haunting visual errors are extremely popular with collectors who value uniqueness and strong visual appeal. And then there are feeder finger gouges where the mechanism that feeds blanks into the striking press scrapes the dies, creating dramatic raised lines or gouged marks on struck coins. And while minor scrapes are not unusual, dramatic ones that significantly distort the design can be extremely valuable, especially on coins from high mintage years where such errors stand out as incredibly rare survivors. And when we combine all these possibilities, the wrong planchet, extreme doubling, off-center striking, broad strikes, cuds, shattered dies, die clashes, double striking, rotated dies, collar malfunctions, and even the potential for mule pairing, we see how the 2002D dime becomes a fascinating candidate for extraordinary value. Because the modern minting process is so refined that any dramatic error that slips through becomes instantly rare and highly sought after. And a coin that combines several of these errors could easily reach multi-million-dollar valuations simply because it would be one of a kind, impossible to reproduce, and intensely desirable to elite collectors who compete fiercely for the rarest errors in existence. And that is exactly why treasure hunters today still dig through rolls, jars, drawers, and inherited collections, searching for the one extraordinary 2002D dime that could change their lives forever, proving once again that even the smallest coin can carry enormous secrets. Last, today we are unraveling the unbelievable mystery behind the 1995 D-Dime that collectors say could be worth as much as $14 million because of a combination of extreme mint errors, striking defects, rare production anomalies, and unique possibilities that together create one of the most fascinating modern coin stories ever told. And as we explore the full range of mistakes that could make this coin so valuable, you will see exactly how a simple dime produced at the Denver Mint in 1995, a year when millions of dimes were struck and released into circulation without a second thought, could suddenly become one of the most sought after and talked about error coins among collectors, investors, and treasure hunters who dream of discovering a life-changing piece hidden in their spare change. Because the world of mint errors is filled with surprises where tiny mistakes lead to massive values. And the 1995 D dime stands out because dramatic errors are exceptionally rare in this era of advanced minting technology, making any powerful mistake occurring during this period incredibly special and significantly more valuable. And the idea that a single dime could sell for $14 million may sound unbelievable, but when you understand the nature of mint errors, the combination of rarity, desirability, condition, uniqueness, and the intense competition among collectors to own something that exists in only one or two examples, you begin to see how value can skyrocket beyond imagination, especially when the error is dramatic, undeniable, and visually stunning. And the rumors surrounding the 1995 D-Dime begin with one of the most dramatic error types that could push a coin into multi-million-dollar territory, the extreme off-center strike, which occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned within the striking chamber, causing part of the design to shift dramatically to one side, leaving a large portion of the blank planchet exposed and instantly making the coin stand out as a significant mint error. And if this off-center strike is severe, yet still shows the date, mint mark, and major design details clearly, the value increases dramatically because collectors love dramatic errors that maintain important identifying elements. And the Denver Mint in 1995 was operating under high production pressure, which means that even a small mechanical misalignment could cause an off-center masterpiece to slip through unnoticed, and that is only one of the many possibilities, because another extremely valuable error that could appear on a 1995 D-Dime is a double die obverse where the date, letters, motto, or Roosevelt's profile exhibit a ghostly doubling caused by a die hub misalignment during production. And while double dies are famous in certain Lincoln cents and some earlier coins, a powerful double die dime from the 1990s would be extraordinarily rare, especially as the mint was using more precise machinery that made such mistakes far less likely, meaning that if one were to exist, it would be one of a kind or nearly so. And that kind of rarity attracts intense bidding wars among collectors who would pay anything to own a modern double die rarity, which is how values enter the $1 million range. And then there is the possibility of a missing clad layer error, where the dime is struck either missing its outer layer or missing its inner core layer, resulting in a coin that looks dramatically different in color, weight, and texture compared to normal dimes. And these rare clad composition errors are extremely desirable because they create a coin that is unmistakably different from the billions of normal dimes circulating around the world. And the 1995 D-Dime could theoretically exist in such a unique state if the metal strip used to create its planchets had a manufacturing flaw. And then we consider another stunning category: the wrong planchet error, where a dime is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin, which is one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint errors ever discovered because it results in a coin with incorrect weight, incorrect metal composition, and often partial or distorted designs. And examples of wrong planchet errors in other denominations have sold for hundreds of thousands to millions. And a 1995 D-Dime struck on a copper planchet, nickel planchet, or foreign planchet would instantly become one of the most valuable modern mint errors. Known because the Denver Mint did produce foreign coins in various years, and cross-contamination of planchets occasionally occurred, creating the perfect scenario for a spectacularly rare mistake. And then there is the dramatic broad strike error, which results when the collar die fails and the coin spreads outward, becoming wider and flatter than normal, while still carrying the full design. And broad-struck coins are visually striking, and collectors love them because they offer dramatic display, evidence of minting malfunction. But a broad strike combined with another error, such as off-center alignment or missing elements, could create a unique double error piece capable of commanding staggering prices, and the value increases even more when considering die cracks, retained cuds, broken dies, repunched mint marks, rotated dies, misaligned dies, or multiple strike errors where the coin receives more than one impression, resulting in layered, overlapping details that create a visually stunning and unquestionably rare piece. And any of these anomalies occurring on 1995 D-Dime could elevate its value significantly, especially if the error is extremely dramatic, perfectly preserved, and unquestionably authentic. And although many people assume modern mints do not produce major mistakes, the reality is that even with advanced machinery, no minting system is perfect, and when billions of coins are produced each year, the law of probability ensures that a few extraordinary errors will eventually occur. And if a single one of those errors escaped quality control and entered circulation, It could still be sitting in someone's jar, pocket, old collection, or bankroll, completely unnoticed. And the idea that an extreme error dime could be worth $14 million is not unrealistic when you consider the historical sales of unique error coins such as double denomination strikes, transitional metals, off-metal planchets, and dramatic missed strikes that have fetched enormous sums at auctions because collectors value uniqueness above almost anything else. And when a coin becomes the only one of its kind, or one of just two in the world, buyers with deep pockets enter aggressive bidding wars to secure ownership and cement their place in numismatic history. And the 1995 D-Dime's legendary rumor value stems precisely from this potential perfect storm of rarity, dramatic error, historical significance, and collector competition. And what makes this story even more exciting is the real possibility that such a coin might still be out there waiting to be discovered in circulation, because many people never check their change, and countless rare errors have been found decades after leaving the mint, meaning that anyone watching could be the next person to uncover a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. And the excitement around this dime also comes from the nature of modern collectors who are increasingly seeking out rare error coins, especially from the 1990s, because they combine modern relevance with growing scarcity as collectors pull more and more of these potential treasures out of circulation. And if someone were to discover a 1995 D-dime with a dramatic error such as a full brockage, a strong double die, a missing clad layer, a huge off-center strike with date showing, a wrong planchet strike, or a multi-error combination piece, its value could surge into the millions instantly because modern error coins with extreme uniqueness are considered crown jewels within the numismatic community. And this is why the search for the rumored $14 million dime continues to grow as collectors monitor auctions, examine rolls, inspect inherited collections, and search everywhere for that one astonishing piece that changes everything. And the lesson behind this extraordinary coin is that rarity can appear unexpectedly.